Okay, go for it.
Great, Matt, thank you very much. For our public, sorry to have kept you waiting. We were in an exec session where we were discussing both personnel and contractual items, and we're a bit delayed with that. So thank you for joining us this evening. I would like to now call this meeting to order. It's 7:20. Julie, would you do roll call, please?
Sure. Barbara Dayton,
Here.
Dave Conlon,
Here.
Tim Frazier. Hi, Tim. Pat Brabant.
Here.
And Amy will be with us shortly.
Thank you very much. Matt, if you could put up the flag and then we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United
of the United
States
States of Africa,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
justice for all.
and
and
justice.
justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have a work session going on this evening with a few topics. And next week we will have a budget work session, but that is not this evening. But there are other things to take care of. So Deb, do you want to begin with the COVID update?
Sure, Barbara. It's very short. As of April 1st, our governor announced that domestic travelers will no longer be required to quarantine after entering New York from the United States or from a U.S. territory. While no longer required, the New York State Department of Health still recommends quarantining after domestic travel. As a precaution, many people have been vaccinated, so they are okay. We did see a large number of students still out today from being away on travel. Mandatory quarantine remains in effect for international travelers, so all travelers must continue to fill out the health form, and anyone coming from international are still required to quarantine. The Department of Health also continues to advise us to wear our mask, socially distance, and avoid gathering. We are not seeing an uptick right now, but it's usually 10 to 14 days after travel. So we'll keep our eye on that. And just, again, remind our parents, if a child doesn't feel well, if there's someone in the house who's not feeling well, please keep your child home till you know if that person has COVID or not. So our windows are open. The fresh air is nice. That's going to help.
Very much, Deb.
Made it through the winter.
A long one. Does anybody on the board have any questions about anything related to COVID at this time? Okay.
Nope.
Yeah.
So, Deb, our next item, American Rescue Plan funds.
Yes, I just want to plant the seed for the Board of Education as well as for our community. There's been a lot of talk that the U.S. Department of Education announced an allocation that each state educational agency, which is the state of New York, will receive under the American Rescue Plan Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief, totaling $122 billion. The Education Department will begin to make these funds available this month so that they may act to fund health and safety measures consistent with CDC guidance, addressing the disruption of teaching and learning resulting from the pandemic, especially for students hardest hit by the pandemic, and to get students back in the classrooms quickly and safely. Again, we're very fortunate. We are back, but there are still some schools, yes, in New York State, that the children are either still hybrid or still fully remote due to not having funds to do some of the measurements that we have done. So this funding that we're going to get can be used over a course of 3 years, and it does have certain criteria that it can be used. I put in your update an entire list, but some of the things are funding for, additional time on learning. We have the before school program, so it could help fund that. Hiring additional school personnel, including nurses and custodial staff. Providing for social distancing, actually helping school districts open additional classrooms or rent classrooms, additional buses or bus drivers, Wi-Fi hotspots. So we haven't seen any money yet. Mike has been checking. The state is catching up on some of previous grants that they shortchanged us on, but we will keep you posted on when this money is available on the allocation. If you read Newsday over the weekend, Springs and a few other districts were left off the list. I immediately reached out to Assemblyman Thiel, who reached out to Senator Schumer, and assured us that Springs School is on the list to receive these funds. It's tentative, but those funds could be in excess of $1 million. Again, be able to be used over a course of 3 years, counting this year. So we'll take it.
Okay, thanks. That sounds promising.
Mike, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I just got something from the State Education Department this afternoon that details all of what you just said. So I haven't read through it in its entirety yet, but I'm going to look through it tonight.
Thanks, Mike.
Can't believe the next item on the agenda is end of year celebrations. Are we really ready to think about the end of the year already? Oh my gosh.
Well, we need the board to do that so that Ms. Cleary can reserve things, can have conversations with PTA, with our teachers. So we thought we'd share our thoughts and get your thoughts, and this way we could start moving forward. It'll be here before you know it. Ms. Cleary?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. It does seem unbelievable that we are talking about end of the year events. The good news is that the governor loosened some of the restrictions for gathering. So right now, currently, as of April 2nd, non-residential social gatherings can have up to 100 people indoor and 200 people outdoors. That's without any proof of negative tests, but that also includes social distancing and mask wearing. If you do ask for proof of negative testing from all the individuals at the event, then the minimum is 150, or I'm sorry, the maximum is 150 people indoors and 500 people outdoor. But again, you'd have to ask for proof of negative testing prior to the event from everybody that attends. So that certainly factors into some of what we're thinking, but we would absolutely love your guidance on some of this. There's a lot to celebrate. Even though it was a rough year, we have gotten through, I think, probably the worst of it. And now we're looking ahead to some of the good stuff that I know the kids and the teachers and our families would really enjoy if we could have some gatherings. So I'm just going to go down the list according to the board agenda. DARE, our fifth graders have had a truncated DARE program this year. They were able to get to know Officer Toya, who is, for all intents and purposes, the new Officer Kim, our resource officer. They have grown very fond of her, and they have had 5 to 6 sessions of DARE, and she has proposed that we do individual classroom celebrations to graduate the DARE program at the end. I think it's May 14th. She was proposing that date. Some cake. They would read their DARE poems that they're currently working on, and they would, set goals for the future and celebrate. We would record the events and then share the events with the parents via remote. So that is DARE. Any questions about that or any input for DARE in particular, or do you want me to just kind of go down all the different end of the year events?
The way you do it, just fine with me.
I
Oh,
think we just want to
okay.
run through them and then we'll
Okay. All right. We'll give it to you all at once. Kindergarten moving up ceremony. We definitely want to give the kids the opportunity to celebrate moving up. Last year, as you know, we hand delivered signs and diplomas to the little guys and girls, and it was much appreciated. But they really do like their celebration and to see their friends all dressed up, and it's really a nice event for parents as well. We were hoping to possibly have that event live on the front lawn or the backfield of the school. Maybe the front lawn would be a little better. We would do it class by class to keep the numbers down. And that means that each student could invite maybe 2 to 3 family members to come watch them during their moving up ceremony if we stuck with the class by class approach. Just some chairs, socially distanced, mask wearing in the front there or on the side with some music and some flowers, and they do the processional and, some words from Miss Winter and myself, and then they get their diplomas. So that's what we're thinking with a rain date, obviously. And that usually is the last week. Our last day is June 25th. So we were thinking maybe the 23rd or the 24th, depending on how it aligns with 8th grade graduation. The one consideration for gatherings, whether it be kindergarten moving up or 8th grade, is parking. We also were entertaining the idea of maybe having some of these events on a Saturday so that we're not competing with staff parking and all of that. So that's something to consider. Field trips, end of the year field trips. We do have our 8th grade trip going up island to the adventure park there, and the 8th graders are very excited about that. We are hoping to open up field trips on a small scale to the other grades and classes. We are hoping to give every grade their own experience, whether it be a visit to the Longhouse Preserve or Amber Waves Farm or Paula Krasner House or Duck Creek or any of the local venues that we have out here that are beautiful and educational. We're hoping that we can use the school buses, and again, with social distancing and keeping the numbers down, we can, with your approval, we can maybe give them an end of the year experience grade by grade.
Christine, can you speak a little bit about 8th grade graduation before getting to parent-teacher conferences?
Sure. Yeah.
Not there, but it's a big one.
So 8th grade graduation is the big nut to crack, and our desire is to do something live. We do have the high school auditorium reserved for June 23rd. We reserved that really at the end of last year, not knowing what the end of this year would bring. If we are able to have 100 people indoors, or if we ask for, proof of a negative test, 150 indoors. But we really would love to use our campus if at all possible, and possibly use the side field. If that's the case, we have looked into a temporary staging area. There's companies that come. There's one not too far up island that would come for about $2,000, and they put together, it's a bandstand basically, and a stage, not too big, not too small, just enough for the presenters to be on the stage and each graduate to walk across in a ceremonial way and receive their diploma. We would probably have to have a split session because we have about 76 graduates. And we would have to keep the number of tickets given to the family members to a minimum. Of course, if we split it, we can have more family members. If we graduate everybody all together, we would probably not, it would only be probably 1 or 2 people that could come with social distancing. That's our vote, is to do it on campus, again, weather permitting. We don't really have a plan for a big, huge tent or anything like that. It would have to be outdoors with chairs and possibly some smaller tents with some tables underneath for people who do need the shade. And again, we were looking at possibly a school day, but more realistically, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday. We might even be able to borrow some of the equipment from the high school, depending on when they do their graduation. because I believe their plan is to do their graduation the same way they did last year, which was in their parking lot, in the cars. It's also an option for us to go back to doing it the way we did last year, which was a drive-up ceremony, and it flowed really well, and it was as nice as it could be. But with the restrictions loosening, we thought it might be nice to have more of a traditional gathering if we could, for our graduates. That is what we're thinking. We would love, again, your input and any questions that you might have. And we're still doing our research, but things are going quickly and being reserved quickly. We have a stage reserved just in case we do go with that option. But, you know, and we haven't opened it up yet to the 8th graders at all as far as their opinion, which I would like to do, but we wanted to hear from you first.
Christine, question about the platform. Is it a mobile one where they just drive up and then, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It is, and it has a staircase, yep, and then they break it all down for you, and it's got all the electricity and everything that you need right there.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea. Christine, I know you have 1 week to get this all done, weather permitting. Have you thought about doing the pre-K the week before?
You know, you mean the pre-K or the kindergarten?
Kindergarten class, yes.
Kindergarten, yeah, we're open. You know, we're very flexible.
Then it gives you a free week to try to make it happen.
Yeah.
School year, I know it's tough. And if you thought about, the other thought I thought about, it just came to my mind was Parsonage, the Parsonage building. There's the big the parking lot there with a Agile Hall across the street. You have the library, and there's that big field there. Is it possible, because that Blackman shop's pretty empty. I think it could be used as an open door, like the stage in there.
Okay.
It's a little thought, you could always, there's plenty of more parking there in the school if you didn't want to do it during the week.
That's true, and that's a great suggestion. We didn't think about that, but we can certainly put that, we can certainly look at that.
Yeah. And the 8th grade one, and now you're trying to make it special. I think if it worked last year and it went well, and they have all the other 8th grade parents, they said they were very happy with it. Why not just stay the same for this year? I don't have an 8th grader, but I think what works always is better,
Well, all the logistics are already worked out for that. So that would be, definitely the least, labor intensive option, but, and the safest option, truly. So that's, that's kind of up to you. I think that it did work well. I was a parent last year of a graduate, and, it was smooth and it was beautiful and it was special. It was different, but it's going to be different no matter what.
And I had the 12th grade graduation last year with the drive-through, which was different, but it was nice.
Right.
But, we did the parade afterwards, and that was the only thing different.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, we have options, and we do have a lovely community where we could, look at other spaces that aren't on Spring School property, considering we are under construction and all. But,
Christine, I would be interested in what the 8th graders have to say. I think that might be a key to helping you make a decision. They should have some say in it. It's their day.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to kind of wait to hear what they have to say.
Okay.
I was wondering about the high school. I mean, we've got the auditorium booked, and all right, so it's been like a year since I've been there. But in terms of thinking about like the outdoor of the football and the bleachers there, is that sort of environment possible to have a bigger group gathering? In terms of logistically, I'm trying to picture like I know like there's a fence. I mean, could you have a like a portable stage there and you'd be able to have more parents and maybe more kids? Is that something that would work out logistically, and also, with the high school, if we'd be able to do that?
I think it would. It could work, but I think we still have to abide by the mandate. So even if we had, say, 76 graduates and they, normally people get 6 to 8 tickets, for friends and family, that's definitely going to go beyond the 500. And that would be, everybody would have to show proof of a negative test, which we could ask for.
So I'm sorry. So that's even the regulations for outside, because I know inside, right. Yeah. Okay. That gets too complicated. I thought last year's, for what it's worth, it went very smoothly. It was really sweet. And you did not have any of those things. But, as Tim says, it would be nice to hear what the kids say while they think about, what the restrictions are, you know, what the different options would be, what the trade-offs would be, and you know, I think that would be good to hear.
Okay. I'll get that out to them. We'll do a survey. I'll do a little informational video with all the particulars, and we'll get their opinion.
Well, Owen's got that wonderful program, you know, the vice, you know, what do they call it this year? The student government.
Student council?
Oh, council. Maybe we can initiate him to help us on this one.
You got it. Yep, we
No.
certainly can.
That'd be great. They're doing a good job, you know, and it's tough. And, you know, everybody wants the best for the kids, but we also got to look the same as what you're doing. You did last year, and you're going to do it then this year. You know, East Hampton, just so you know, as you know, the high school always rented that big tent, even though they have the big field, they have the auditorium, because it's a one-day shop.
Yeah.
You know, we can't. So you really got to plan for
Tents are- Yeah, the tents are very expensive, Pat. The stage we thought was pretty reasonable.
And if it does, as long as it doesn't rain.
Right.
So you
That's
got to shoot for both. You know, the other one is you mentioned is Duck Creek has that huge building there, and it's an empty building. You could always talk to them as well. There's a lot of parking down there too, I believe.
We spoke to Jess Frost last year. She offered that space to us. The only problem is there's no bathrooms there. There's no plumbing. So, and I think electricity might be an issue too, but it's a beautiful space, and she did offer it.
They do have electricity. They do have electricity. I know that.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah. So we can always get a portable, one of them fancy portable johns down there now too.
Yeah, you could.
You know, just different areas you're looking at. You know.
Christine, you mentioned you need a proof of a negative test if you're going to go above that number.
Yes.
Did they say anything about showing proof of vaccine, being vaccinated?
They didn't say anything in the memorandum about that. It was just negative tests. So I am under the understanding that even if you're vaccinated, you would still have to get tested and show proof of a negative test. That may change between
That
now
may
and the end of
change.
June.
I think that's going to change by
I think that would
June.
change, yeah.
Yeah.
It probably will.
And I would think, you know, at that date, by that time, there's a good chance, you know, a large number of people would be vaccinated.
That's a good point, Dave. Yeah.
I think your thought about having it on a weekend or not at school time, like the kindergarten graduation, is probably good considering the whole parking situation. You know?
Okay.
Like you've thought of a lot of things, and you know, you'll get it all figured out, right?
Yeah, and we welcome, obviously we welcome your input and ideas, and it's kind of right now sort of a big mixed bag, and we're just trying to figure it all out. But and of course we have to talk to the teachers as well. I have a meeting tomorrow, or Ms. Winter and I have a meeting with the kindergarten teachers to get their input, and we'll also talk to the junior high teachers as well.
Great, thanks very much.
Thank you. Oh, and the last thing I was supposed to alert you to is parent-teacher conferences. This report cards come out on April 23rd, and then parent-teacher conferences are scheduled for Thursday, April 29th in the evening from 6 to 8 p.m. They'll be remote. And then the next day in the afternoon, it'll be a half day for students. And from 12:15 to 3:15 in the afternoon, we'll hold parent-teacher conferences, K through 8.
What's the feedback been like from teachers in terms of having the parent-teacher conferences being remote? Is there more participation? Are you able to communicate as well? And really, is it as effective?
Yes, especially there's been a big change at the junior high. If you remember, junior high parents were never guaranteed a slot. They kind of waited outside the classroom when it was in person, and it wasn't the most efficient system. So we have had a big uptick in participation at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade because of the convenience and the time slots available and all that. K through 5 is about the same. We've always had really great participation, K through 5. And they get a little bit longer time frame too. So, and of course, any student that is struggling or there's deeper issues, then those teachers are in communication on a regular basis with the parents anyway. So, but it certainly has helped increase participation at the junior high level.
I was going to ask you that. I assume because of the virus that students that might be struggling this year, there's no surprises when those parents log in for the remote teacher conference because, those teachers are speaking to those parents somewhat regularly about their children.
Yeah, they are. They're in constant communication, and also everything is on the parent portal all year long. So as soon as those grades get put into the system, they can pretty much gather how the student is doing, the parent, way before student parent teacher conferences.
Well, that sounds good, and it sounds like something to talk about, keeping that going on even when all these restrictions are no longer in place. It really might be the more effective way to do things, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Deb, is there anything else that we would like to go over at this time?
No, we just wanted to make sure that the board was comfortable with us moving ahead with some of these field trips and getting back to some normalcy. As you said, Barbara, you received a text about PARP.
Yes.
We're really trying to see these children outside today, throwing a frisbee, interacting with their peers. It's just so important. It's really been a struggle for them. So we're looking for ideas and suggestions. And as long as we have your blessings, we will move ahead to make sure, every grade has something special going forward.
Yeah, it was nice that when I drive by the school, you hear me?
Yes.
No, not now. Now you're just muted.
Just muted.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Not that I'm stalking the school, but I drive by the school quite a bit. It's on my route. When I'm driving by the school and seeing kids outside participating in outside activities all around the front of the building and the side of the building. It's nice to see them outside in the group. And then I noticed they are social distance, and it's pretty cool at that young age. They're smarter than we are. So
Pat, they wear their mask without a problem.
yeah, a lot smarter.
And our teachers are creative in doing activities outside. John Gibbons and John Charlton made sure that we have access points outside so that teachers can still work on Chromebooks, outside. But they get to go for walks, even if it's a walk around the building on a rainy day. They're getting up and moving. It's just really tough to sit in the same chair all day long,
No, it really is nice.
Well, thank you for presenting us with all
Thanks.
those things and keeping us involved in that part of the discussion. And it's nice to see some fun and celebratory things will be going on for these kids. Definitely.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
So, as I mentioned earlier, our next meeting is on the 12th. That will be a budget work session starting at 7.
Please send your questions to Mike ahead of time and he'll, try to put them in writing to all board members so you have it.
If there's nothing else to go over at this time, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Second? Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, all. Be safe.
Great.
Good
Thank you.
night, everybody.
Thanks, Matt.
Good night.
Have a good night all.
Bye.
Go
Have a
ahead.
good night.
You're welcome.